sending the fucking feed. What the shit's going on here? Tube Studio. Where's this bad boy? There it is. There it is. Okay. Cool. So that's working good. All right, and then we know that Trovo works without a problem. Now, let's go with the Twitchy. There. That's going to there. That should work. All right. So we'll start out by just creating a little tile map here. Go ahead and we'll just do a few duplications of the tile map. And then what I'll do, like you're in a game right now, right? I'll hop out. That way I don't distract you from your game. I'm going to be talking a lot of myself. If I switch back over to Apex, I'll hop in with you and hang out and bullshit before I get off tonight. Have a good night, bud. It says my Twitch feed's offline, but I don't believe it is, guys. Nope, it's right there. I sees it. Hi everybody. All right, so the chat works, so that's what matters. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over a few different things here. Guys, it's completely unedited film. Like I try not to I try not to go too crazy with editing and everything like that because it's hard to see how a game works out and how features work out when there's a lot of editing. If there's too much editing, then what happens is you really miss out on everything that's going on. You know what I mean? So we'll go kind of step by step of what we've got here. So what I'm building tonight is the level. I'm going to build a cave area. This cave area is going to be specifically for a boss. There will be some other combat in the area, but the main focus is going to be for the boss. So what we're laying out is the tile map. And in the tile map, basically, this is how you're going to paint, I guess you could say, your terrain and your sprites to your scene to make the world. All right, so we're going to do a couple different layers. So you've got the ground, which is the base layer. You're going to do the walls. You're going to do water. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add in solid objects. Now, I like to add a couple different things in. I like to add in shadows. But we're going to label this shadows 1. And we're going to label it shadows 2. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go above player 1. And then we're going to go above player 2. Then we can go ahead and delete this last one. Now our solid objects, we want to go ahead and add a tile map collider. And then for walls, we want to add a tile map collider. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to set each of our layers. So I've got layers put together. We've got the default, which for mine is the ground. We got water, pathways, solid objects, shadows, player, and above player. So basically the way these are going to work is it's, you know, lowest layer on top, highest layer on the bottom. So anything that is above player is going to be pretty much like it says, above the player. But the player will render above any shadows, solid objects, pathways, water, or the ground. By going that way, it allows your player to be seen. So we'll change the water to the water. We'll change the wall to a solid object. And of course, solid object to solid object. Shadows 1 and 2 can go to the shadows. Now, there's a little caveat to it. Because there's 2 groups, you got to change the order. So even though these are both on the shadow layer, by changing this one from 0 and putting it to 1, whatever we put on this will show above this. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll go above player, and we'll set that to 1. Now, before I get started, I'm kind of super OCD about trying to keep my hierarchy as organized as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and create an empty object. We're going to set it to 0. And actually, we're going to set it to 1 on the Z. Because we are working on the Z axis, we are not going to be going, up and down per se in a three-dimensional space. We're only working with the X and the Y axis. So under this game object, we're going to call this one scene objects. We're going to go ahead and we're going to create another empty right beneath this. We're going to call this scene transition. We're going to call this spawn point. Oops. And I'll explain what each of the, if you can't figure out what these are for, I'll explain each one as we go through there. This one we're going to do work objects, and then one more we're going to create, and this one's going to be called prefabs. All right, so we're working with, as the title says, we're working with a program that's called OrkFramework. It is an asset that's on the Unity store. I will pop up the website so you guys can see it here. It's phenomenal. I have fallen in love with it. It allows you to basically build a single-player RPG out of the box. Little to no coding. You do have to, there is coding that you're going to have to use. But it's very minimal. The hardest part really is just getting your graphics. That's the word I was looking for. We jump over to unity.com. This is the program that we're working in. Unity is free for everybody, unless you're like a business, and then you got to pay for it. But for a hobbyist such as myself, somebody that does not make a lot of money with my games, actually make no money for you right now, you are able to do this all for free. And so I don't have to sign in. I will pop into here, and we'll go with unity.com on this one because I'm already signed in. No, I'm not. Really interesting. Okay, well, let me get signed in, and then we'll jump into the asset store really fast. So in the Unity Asset Store, to get there, you click, once you get signed in, you'll be able to search for everything in here, but you click on the applications, and you can go to your assets, your cart. But under the Asset Store, if you type in ORK, OrkFramework is the first thing that pops up right here, and it is $100. Now, it's honestly, I can't say enough good things about it. It does make it a little bit more of a challenge when you're working in a 2D space versus a 3D space, but not enough to be problematic, in my opinion. But if you keep an eye on it, it does go on sale. It gets updated yearly. You can buy a new license every year to get the newest, latest, and greatest, or you can also pledge via Patreon to the developer and get the updates as needed. But anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and get at what we're going to do here. So we want to build a couple things right out the gate. So over here on the right, actually, let's do this so you can see exactly how this is gonna work. So to access OrkFramework, once you've got it installed in your project, and I'm assuming you already know how to do this. If not, we will show you we'll link a video to how to do that later on. If you're watching this tonight, it'll be a couple days before I can put that link in the description for you there on YouTube. But anywhoosie, once you've got it imported to the project, you're going to go to your window and you're going to get the framework and the scene wizard. We're not going to work with the framework just yet. We're going to start with the scene wizard. So click on that. And that gives you this lovely little pop-up right here. You can dock it wherever you want. I personally like it down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Cute, it's sweet, it's out of my way, and it allows me to do everything that I need. I keep it typically lined up kind of along where my my project and my console is set. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump in here, we're gonna create an object, we're gonna create a spawn point, we're gonna create another object, we're gonna create a scene changer, and then we're gonna create a third object. This one is one that you don't need per se for the game, but this one is going to be for what we are gonna do tonight for testing. So on the game starter object, click start game. If in the event you do not have any options to do anything with this, you simply click play, stop playing, and then click on the starter event, and you'll see it pop up over here. All right, so let's start with the spawn point. So because I am working in a 2D space, you have to pay attention where you're working at. So there are a couple quirks with Ork. One thing is the place on the ground feature. You need to uncheck that. You don't want that on there whatsoever. Then you'll go to your scene changer. And actually, before we do that, for the spawn point, this is all you got to do. For every spawning point that you have, yes, you're going to increase the spawn ID by 1, but it'll automatically do that for you. So if we create another spawn point, bang, spawn point 1, already done. You just got to remember place on ground to uncheck it. Anyways, I digress again. Let's get that out of there. Scene changer. Now this one's going to have a little bit more oomph to it. So what you're going to have to focus on with this are a couple different things, okay? 1, your target scene. 2, your spawn ID. These we'll address here in just a minute. First things first, we have to fix this to where it's not going to break our game when we're playing. So, first thing we do, because it's 2D, you're going to scroll down and you're going to find horizontal plane. You're going to change that from XZ to XY. When you're working with an XZ plane, remember that's in a 3D space. You'll have X, you can't see my hands, but you'll have X going this way, Z going this way, and then Y goes that way. So we don't want that. We want this for the Y and this for the X. All right. Start type. On trigger enter. This one is really going to be up to you how you want to do it, how you use it. I like the on trigger enter strictly because my player can walk into this spot and it will it'll trigger the event. Now we scroll down a little bit lower here, screen fade out. That's a nice thing to have. It allows you to kind of get that, you know, that great little, well, fade. You know, it goes to the black screen and it fades in and you're in your new level. So those are things you can adjust the time it takes to do that. So we'll change the fades there. Variable settings. I do like having the auto destroy on. For the most part, you should not really have to change anything in here under the scene changer, except for those very select few things. Now, this is one of the things that I personally would tell you to change. If you go into a 2D space, you now see that's a 3D space, my apologies. That's the collider that your player can walk into. I don't recommend that. You're working in a 2D space. Let's work with 2D colliders. We'll go back into the 2D view there. We'll add a component, and we'll do a box collider 2D. Don't forget to label it as trigger. Now, when it is trigger, when a trigger event happens, it works. So now let's go ahead and organize this around really quick. Spawn point into spawn point, scene changer to scene changer, game starter into orc objects. Cool. All done. Now, let's go ahead and hide those. We don't want them in the way. So now we've got everything set. So what we have to figure out is how big do we want the scene to be, right? So we've got our tile palette here. We've got our tile map. That's why you see the grid here. We can simply just click and go, okay, I want it to look like that. There you go. Do you know how big that is? Without going through 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. So a trick to make your life easier. Again, we're going to create a couple of game objects. Create an empty. And we're going to click this little gizmo button over here. And then just pick an icon. I like the little triangle. Let's use the red one tonight. Use a blue one. I haven't used blue. Now, this bad boy is going to be set at 0, 0, 0. Go ahead and hide the camera really quick, and you can see what we're looking at. If we zoom in, we now know that this little blue dot right in the center of these 4 squares, right there, that little blue dot is at true 0. So we know that any way we move, this is going to be the dead center of our map. Now, here's what I like to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We now have 6 of them. Why would we do 6 though? Very simple. We can now say that we want to go 40 minus 40. We now have roughly an 80 on our width. And then we can go here and we can do minus 40 and 40. And then we can go here and we can do 40, 40. So now what we have is roughly an 80 by 40 environment to work with. The 6th one I have, if you want to work with it on this case, you can plug it up like that. And it allows you to play with your area and set exact bounds. From there, what I do, I'll make a little block like that. Zoom up here, we'll find the next one. Make a little block like that. Same thing over here. Really don't have to do the 4 blocks there, but something to remember. When you start at true 0, it's the bottom left. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That puts us at 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That puts us at 30. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That puts us at 40 each way. So you'll go from blue dot to blue dot. And then the same thing over here. Blue dot to blue dot. The fast way to do this, over on your tile palette, you click the little box. And you click it, you just yoink. And you've now drug and set a 40 by 80 environment for your game. And then from there, if you want to go through and just delete those little game objects, boop, problem solved. Okay, let's jump back in our grid. So we're going to set our walls now. We know that our walls have a box collider on them. So what I'm going to do is I could easily just come down here like this. And I'll show you what we're working with. So when you're working with a 3D palette, okay, you're able to functionally, we could do, let's do it like this. Check this out. we're going to take and we're just going to go stretchy, stretchy, stretchy. And we're going to turn off the collider so you can see this. I could simply do that. And that's our wall. Not a problem. It looks great. You've got a wall that is defined. You've got an outline that's defined as to what it is. But it doesn't really have depth to it. Now, a 2D game is not really going to have depth. But there are little things that you can do graphically that will increase the quality of the project you put out. And I'll show you what I mean. We take now, go across the bottom like so. Now from there, this is what I do, because I don't want to have too many colliders that are useless, for lack of better words. There. Go to there, and then we'll go up one more. Now we went up an extra 4 blocks above what the map was set, but our player's not going to be able to walk up here. This is strictly just going to be, oh hey, Mr. Player, you're not going anywhere. All right. Now this particular tile map, it's got little corners you can set. Oops. So here, what we're doing is we are setting. Turn this back on. See? I made a mistake. Super easy to do. And it's not imperative that you take these away. It's just something that I like to do personally, because I try to keep it as light as possible when processing on a computer, because you never know what your clients, or not your clients, but your customers are going to be working with. Okay, so there's that, and then we'll drop down. Now, I'm going to stop right here at the bottom, and I'm going to switch back over to the wall. The reason why I'm doing that is we know that we don't want people to walk through this wall, and we don't want to leave a little opening, just enough for them to squeak by and cause a game-breaking bug. So we'll go around the corners, right like so. And then once we get the corners finished up here, we'll jump back into the shadow. And we'll finish that up. There we go. Oops. That one. There you go. So we now have a room. It looks like it's got a bit of depth to it. Even though it's two-dimensional, by just setting it this way, it gives the illusion of depth. And then you can go even further by adding shadows. What I mean by adding shadows now, jump across here like so. Yeah. Now when you look at this map, it looks as though there's actually a shadow being cast on the floor. So we got the outside of it laid out. Let's go ahead and build the entrance. So right now, this is a solid wall that goes all the way around. Absolutely bupkis for what we want to do. Let's hop back into the wall, and let's delete one. Let's delete 2 blocks. You can set this up however you want in your end. And then what we'll do is we'll go like this. We now have what resembles a cave entrance. And then, of course, don't forget your floor. Floor back in there. Now, again, we want to try to take and make this as best as we can to entice the player to believe what we're selling. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take and do this. I'm going to drop the ground out there again. And I'm going to go back into the wall, and I'm going to do 1 block. The reason we're going to do 1 block is we're going to go to the ground. We're going to add that little bitty light. I'm going to do it there. Now what that little bitty light is going to signify is that's an exit. That's where we want to go. And the players will recognize this. You know, our the people that choose our games, they're not stupid by any means. So they look at things and they say, "Oh, hey, you know what? Yeah, that's where I need to go. So let's go there." So now we have an entrance. We've got a layout. Theoretically, I could start this and it would work with Ork. And I'll show you how Ork works a little bit. But remember when we put together the scene objects for Ork, we got our spawn point right here. Let's see, let's turn these two off really quick. Hang on. This is our spawn point, this little star. We don't want to, if our player walks into this cave, we don't want them to spawn over to the right in a wall. Let's go ahead and take this spawn point. Click on the W. Let's set it right about there. We could probably bring it closer if we wanted to. Alright, now let's go ahead and do the same thing with the scene transition. Go ahead and drag it right about there. That looks good. So now when our player walks to exit the cave, they're going to pop out. When they walk into the cave, they're going to spawn just a little bit away, just enough so they're not actually going to trigger the spawn. Now, what we want to know is, where is this going to go when we leave? So in my case, I've already built out where it's going to go to. So we'll go to the scenes. And once we get in here, I'm going to open up, whoops, wrong file. I'm going to open up the starting area. Now in my case, I know that I want it to go to a training area. So we're going to copy that. And we're going to go ahead and paste that onto the scene changer and the target scene. Now, on the target scene that I have built, I actually don't have a spawn point for the cave yet. So, what I'll do, let's go ahead and I will open this scene in additive. To get here, if you want to pull another scene in without having to save it and go load the other scene up, if you right click and then open the scene additive. Now, in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just move everything that's in my cave. Move that over there. It's out of the way. I'll actually set it like that. Right there. There we go. So this is what it would look like, you know, if you were layered and linking them together. Okay? Now we know that this, of course, is underground, so there would be another level that sets above this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go... Oh, and actually, I stand corrected. I do have one. So right here. So this is the spawn ID 1. Now, the scene changer references, it asks for a spawn ID. So if we change it to 1, now when our player walks into this little door right here, automatically going to spawn here instead of, you know, spawning down here. Or over here by this spawn point. Because this one should be spawn point 2. Yeah. Now, with Unity, it starts with 0. Your very first number is 0. Alright? So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to unload the training area because we don't need it. And then we'll remove it from where we're working. And then we'll go ahead and we'll move all of this good stuff here. Let's see. We'll just go with the grid. And we'll go to 0, 0. It doesn't really matter where this is set at, to be honest. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll move the other 2 items that we got here. And we'll just go like that. Should be good. Never assume though. Always double check. Check our collider. See? Collider's off a little bit. Pull it up. Bang. Done. Spawn points there, so we're good. And the work stuff on. All right. So OrkFramework comes with a builder that's built inside of it, okay? And this is where the very little to no coding comes into play. So what I'm going to do is I want to add this scene to my build. So go File, Build Settings. Build Settings pops up. You're going to get something like this. Now, I already have mine in here, but if your new scene's not in there, all you got to do is just drag it in or add open scenes if you're only adding one scene at a time. But anyways, we got set there. So now, if I hit play, haha, forgot something. All right, back under the scene wizard, you're gonna add an object, and you want to add a camera border. Now, the camera border, what this does is this is gonna set where your camera can and can't go. You want to turn on the padding, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. So let's go ahead and edit the collider real quick. Let's pull it out just to the outside of the black there. Pull it out just to the outside of the black here. That's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want it to be in that outer area. Now this one we're going to pull down. I want it to be pretty close because we want to hide all this gray that's behind it. Right about there. That looks good to me. And then if you really want to fine tune it, just make sure it looks pretty. Just zoom in a little bit. Do the dragging right there. Same thing over here. We'll zoom in on the top. You can see it's a little bit off. It's nothing major. It's not enough that's gonna, it's gonna cause any issues, anything noticeable in the game. And you can see it's just one minuscule little click over here. There we go. Now, we'll show you what the padding does here. Hit play. Because this is set as a top-down camera. Why is my camera? 0. Skybox, solid color, and black. Camera is tagged. Okay. Camera border. All right. So, it's probably my wife. That's my wife. What's my wife say? Okay. Let's go ahead and set a 5, 5, 5, 5. All right. So what this is under the position padding. All right. The padding is going to be, you see X, Z, X, Y, Z, and W. Starts left, up, right, bottom. So X is left, Y is top, Z is right, W is bottom. What it does, it adds a slight padding to prevent the camera from going too far outside of the bounds of your border here. So if we hit play, this should -10 grid. I think that might be Y. Let's go with a -1. Let's see, game scene. Where's my camera at? -10. Let's go with a 10. All right, so 10 is not good. So -5, -20. There we go. Okay, size. Is it a 3? No. 10. I think 5 is what I ran all my other ones with. I'd have to jump back and check each of the other ones to look at. I think 4 is where I went with my other cameras. But you want the camera to be around a -10. And then if we, just to double check, we'll drag our character in. We'll see what he looks like in there. Yeah, we want to zoom out just a little bit. 5, 6. I like 7. Okay. So now let's go ahead and jump back to the camera border. And let's set this with let's try it. 10 left and right. To 8 and 8. Okay, blah blah. Should be good. Let's check and make sure though. There we go. He's like moving like hella fast, so we'll have to adjust this a little bit. We do also have 2 of these guys walking around, so we'll have to delete this little dude. Get him the hell out of there. Let's hit play, make sure it's still working. Hey, my love. All right. You guys probably heard all of that because I just realized that my mic was still working. So what we're gonna do, as you guys can see, when I pop in here, what we want is this little lit up area to be visible to our player. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and hit play. So when we walk down, you can't do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the camera border and let's change that Y positioning to 3. Oh, sorry, that's the W one. All right, so 3 is too much, so let's try 5. Nope. 7. Ooh, 7 is good. All right, let's go. Let's run up top and let's take a look at the one on top and see how a 3 works. Whoa! All right, we got the colliders turned off. So let's do 5, 7. All right, so 7s are good. 12, 14, 13.5. 13.5, 7. And then it's probably going to be the same on the other side. Another 13.5. It's always nice when you can get the exact numbers together. So let's try this really quick. 13.5. Bang! Okay. So 13.5. And if we wanted, we could probably bring that one down like 0.25, shrink it up a little bit. But I like keeping the numbers pretty consistent. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix the camera border. 13.5, 7, 13.5, 7. Now, one thing that I do really recommend is make sure to change your settings. So let me save this really quick and I'll show you what I mean. So you notice when I hit play, my screen turns blue. The reason I do this is so I know that I am in play mode. Any changes I make in play mode do not get saved. So if you go into edit and then preferences, under colors, general, play mode, tint. You can change this to whatever you want. I like the light blue because I can still read and see what's going on if I need to make adjustments. Anyways, we'll get out of there. So now we've got our scene laid out. We now have a playable, functioning scene. We'll walk around so you can see. So our guy, he walks around. Yay, yay, yay. Loads out into the world. Yay. Goes back into the cave. Loads into the cave. Yay. Now, a couple things do happen there. Move that under Ork objects. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to create one more object from the scene wizard. And it's going to be a music player. This music player, again, horizontal plane, XY. Because this is the environmental. Environmental, is that the word I want to use? This is the area music. This is not like a special music because of where the player's at. This is just because this is the cave music. Okay. So, let's go ahead and let's put on the castle music. Now, I am going to turn it down to about a 0.25. Just so it's not super loud. If we hit play now, we now have music in our scene. We now have music in this scene. Remember before when we loaded back into the cave, this music stayed with us. There it is. Now I think what I might do is play type. I think we're going to do a fade in. So now, if I hit play, instead of just jumping right into that, zoom out real quick. It's nice and loud. See how it's got that nice little break there. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go to the scene transition. And let's bump up that time a little bit. Let's do a 1.5. 1.5. So a fade out and a fade in, right? If we hit play now, got a nice gradual transition into it. We might do I think we're gonna do the fade. The fade in will stay like that, but I think we'll keep the fade. We think we'll drop the fade out back down to a 0.5. Wait for fade. So let's try this real quick one more time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get into building, actually laying out the cave. Here, guy popped out. There we go. All right. So now we have that functioning. So to get all that set up, there are tutorials on Ork that you can actually run through that will walk you through step by step to put those features together. I may actually do an Ork tutorial on that here a little bit later. I mean, like I said, guys, it's a phenomenal program. It can put together anybody that wants to learn how to build a game and kind of get the grassroots, I guess you could say. Get the basic functionality. It'll do it for you without a problem. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at how we want to do this. So when our player zones in, this is what they're going to see right here. Do we want to keep this nice and wide and open for them? No, we do not. So let's go ahead and let's start a wall. Now, we don't want it to be super big. You know, we don't want it to take over the entire game. Sorry. Thought one of my dogs or my kid was in here. I gotta say, they should already be asleep. Okay, so again, we're gonna start out like we did with this back wall. Now we're gonna add the layering into it, okay? There's our collider. The green little blocks prevents our player from walking through it. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna turn them off again. We wanna make sure that we're clicked on the wall. And let's go ahead and also, I've done this numerous times. Over here in your tile palette, let's zoom this out so you guys can see it a little bit. You have a paintbrush, and then you have this box. The paintbrush allows you to click one block at a time. Now, if you're doing this, you know, pixel by pixel, so to speak, this one is great. If you're doing long stretches, I would recommend using this one because you can just click and go, adjust it to however you need it, wherever you want it. So let's jump in here and let's give our player, let's say, 3 blocks from the spawn point and 3 blocks from the changer. So 6 blocks off the wall. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. That's where our starting wall is going to be. So let's go ahead and stretch it out here real quick. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run another one right there. This one will go all the way to there. All right. So now we have the layout of where our wall is going to start and where our wall is going to end. Now, this particular asset pack that I'm using, it's a phenomenal. I'll see if I can get a link for you guys if you're interested in it. But it's got everything that you would really need and or want. So let's zoom in here a little bit closer and I'll show you what we just did. We now have a corner on here. Let's work this corner up with our colliders. There we go. So that corner's been worked up. Now what I'm going to do for speed, this is where the paintbrush comes in really handy. If you click on all of the items that you want to paint on there at one time, it allows you to do that and just paint them in. Now, we know that this is where our players are not going to be able to walk through these sections here. So again, I'm going to pop back into the shadows. Sounds kind of funny saying that. And we're going to drag it across. Go. We're going to drag it across. Now, this looks kind of stupid, in my opinion. So what we have to do is we have to play a little bit with our graphics. So now, this whole section here, we can wind up blacking it out depending on where we take this wall to. But let's go ahead and finish up the wall itself so we make sure it looks good. We don't forget this part. We'll go layer by layer, block by block, so to speak. Alright, so we zoomed out. So now I can see the whole wall here. Drag it across. And you see how we dropped down to 2 blocks? Let's go ahead. Now it's the one block. Do the same thing the next row down. There you go. Now, when you're working these, one thing to remember, you don't want to use the same tile. Because if you look at that, does it work? Yeah. But does that right there look as good as what you see right here? Maybe in your opinion it does. My personal opinion, it doesn't. So that's how I do things there. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop some more shadows in. Got our little paintbrush there. All right. And we're going to delete that one. Pull this bad boy up right, y'all. Stretch it across. Oh, there we go. See that? That's why you gotta be careful with that. I don't know if you guys caught what I did there, but I drug it across and it wound up putting the shadow up in here, which we definitely don't want to do. Okay. Now, again, with these shadows, that works, but I think that looks better. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead, we'll pull this wall up. We'll jump back on the wall tile. And then we'll wrap it around. Now in this case, because the player is not able to see the wall when they're looking at it, you don't have to worry about hiding that in there. We bring this down. And I punch this here. Now, this is where you want to bring something like this in. You're going to go right there. Across. And then what we'll do is we'll bring this wall right there. Go. Take and we'll go back onto the ground layer, stretch it across. You can do ground, you can do shadow, either or. It's not really going to be super imperative as to which one you use, as long as you know and remember where it's at. So you may ask, why would you want to do something like this? Well, if you are working an area where your player has puzzles they have to complete, or areas that they have to search through, you want to make sure that your players are being challenged. You know, one little, oh, you know, let's walk into this room and there's your boss. Great. Where's the challenge for the player? You know what I mean? So again, this is going to be one of those where if you are going to work an area, you would want to make sure that what you've got set into place is going to work. There you go. Now, because of the fact that this is all done in a wall, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go through and erase it. I'm going to do it all in shadow. Oh, wait, I grabbed the wrong one. No! Drag that back out. And then put that corner in there again. Okay, now let's jump back into the wall. Put that one little corner piece. And let's go ahead and stretch that back across. By doing that, it now puts my colliders right there. We want to make sure that all of our colliders are there so that people can't just willy-nilly walk into our wall there. So now let's go ahead and click on this little here. We're going to go back into the shadows. There we go. Cross. And pull it up. There we go. Now what we can do here, we can add a little feature like a combat scenario, or we can add another scene changer. We could put, you know, they fall into a hole or something like that, you know what I mean? There are numerous options of things that you can do. So let's go ahead and let's continue working on building this out. Before we do that though, let's go ahead and let's build a tavern here. Let's go ahead and build it on the wall level. Alright, so there's that. Down a little bit. It's over just a little bit. Oh, not that one. That one. There, and look at there. And what we're doing is we are really just laying out more graphic in an area that allows it to, here we go, kind of just blend in. And when you're working that blending, what that does is it gives the players what's the word I'm looking for? It gives the players more of a, I'm trying to think of how I want to you know, how I would really like to explain it. It gives the players something to look forward to, you know, something to look into when they are building their, you know, working with their characters. And there. And then there. So again, this is one where it just takes time and effort on your part to really work through these things. Now, in the game's case of what I'm working on right now, this would be, I would say, perfectly acceptable to how it looks. Now, with the game that you make, maybe, you know, maybe it doesn't look like, you know, how you want it to look. That's the great thing about us being designers. We can do this to do whatever we need and whatever we want it to do. And this is really how hard it is to work with 2D sprites. Look at that. We now have a beautiful little chasm. And what we'll do is we'll hop in here, we'll go to the ground area. We'll just fill it in. Go, oh, ground. Let's click the right little block there. There we go. There you go. Now your player can try to walk back here, but they can also have challenges that face them over here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna create a challenge for my player. Nope, not that tile though. Go. And what I want is for our player, honestly, to struggle. And there are going to be traps and combat that's put in here. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to build another zone. Check this out. We're going to go to the wall. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to delete that one. And we're going to add shadow. And then we're gonna add the wall section. Oops. Add it up there. That way there's one above it. Now what this will do is, this is gonna make our player have to go into another section. This other section is gonna be where the boss fight is. Alright? We're gonna call this, we're gonna rename the cave here in just a minute. Alright, so let's go back into the wall area. There we go. Let's go ahead and build it around. Oops. And let's build it up. And up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna curve it right there. And then we'll take this one and go down. Across here like that. That. No, not that. We'll keep working it. And we'll build it out. And once it's how I want it to look. Oops. Go with that one. Make this turn back in a little quicker. So that down a couple. This one down a couple. Keep these two together. There we go. Now, again, we're back into an area where we've got another little spot that's laid out. Now, our player has a little bit more of a challenge. It's not just simply, let's go balls to the walls and run straight across. Now, our player can't walk over here. Now, what we can also do is we can add in damage areas. Oh, my back. Now, what we may do is we may add water in here. How do we want to do that water? We'll make a nice little water pool here. What I'm going to do again, I'm going to do the outer portion with that wall feature, because we don't want the player to walk across this water. This water is strictly for aesthetics. You can see the shadow that's up there. What we will do is we will set it to where the player can walk across this one little section right here. Oops. There we go. That. And that. Actually, you know what? I don't think I want the player to walk on that. There. Excuse me. There. If we throw the collider back on, now we can see our player cannot walk through that area. He can walk to it, can't walk on it. So you guys can see how these colliders work. We know that this has colliders on it. This guy can't walk through it. Now you can see he's not moving as fast as you thought he was. There's that water. Oh, look, you can't walk through it. You can walk up to it. And then if we walk over here to where this hole is at, I may have to adjust that music down more too. There we go, look at that. plenty of room for us to walk across. This stuff here. And then we'll have our exit right there. Now, notice how he walks up and is off the map. That's because we're missing a collider over here. We'll go with the wall. We'll punch this in right there. Now, the reason why I'm stopping it there is so our player doesn't go too far. And I'll show you how it works. We can move this little spawner wherever we want it. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off the scene really quick. You guys don't see that. We're going to full screen this. Can't full screen it, never mind. What I've got to get access to, you won't see. There we go. Alright, so let's click on solid. Let's click on wall. Alright. So you guys can see the green colliders. You know what? Park objects. Right. Let's turn the music player off for just a minute, guys. So you guys can see this and focus on how it works. Alright, so we hit play. There we go. So our guy is now spawned into the scene. And that. Okay. So now you can see all these little green blocks that are around our player. So as our player walks around, he's like zipping super fast right now. So that is one of the setting bugs that I have because my stuff is done via script. So when your guy gets up here, see how he's blocked there? Now he can't go into those corners. By the time he gets there, he will have already triggered the scene changer. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Let's get the scene dock back in here, get the game dock back over here, and let's get back to building. Alright. So now we're gonna go here and we're gonna jump on the wall, go up. It'll probably work right about there. Oops. You see, this is what happens when you use that little paintbrush tool. You wind up causing some headaches for yourself. But now, turn the top collider off. For how we were talking, how this corner is going to look like crap. This is where those adjustments come into play. Right there. Now again, I want to go ahead and get rid of those because we don't need them because the players aren't going to be walking in this area. To a ground. Go. Now, we've got an area that's mapped out as a player area for the for our wall. We'll jump back on the wall here. We'll build it up a little bit. Up a little bit more. I'm going to use my paintbrush again. Right here. 3. And I'm going to go with the shadows. 1, 3. And then I'm going to go with the wall, and I'm going to go shift, delete, delete, delete. And now, this whole back area here does not have the colliders on it. See? Back to that U shape, which is going to take, and we don't even need to do that. Go right here, like this, on the shadows. Doop, doop. And then we'll build this wall up just a little bit. We're not going to go too high here, because we want to loop it around. Go. Put it this way some. And we'll go up some. That'll work right about there. Bring it back across. Back down here. And what I want I want an area that our player is going to have to kind of dig to get to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to it's over like this. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm sorry, my nose is itching like crazy right now. Okay. Get it there. Down here like that. Now we're going to hit that whole corner again. Set it right there. Pull it across again. There we go. And we'll go ahead and punch this corner unit up again. So, work our way up here. Do is we're going to go ahead and use this whole section here. Pull it across right there. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these blocks real quick. Again, we don't want all of those additional oh my goodness, I can't think of the words right now. We don't want all those additional colliders. Oh, there we go, and then up that corner piece in there. Excuse me. Alright, back to the shadows. There we go. Then we'll go back over to the wall. And right here, where it's going to get a little bit tricky. I'll show you what we're going to do here in just a second. Shadows across the top. Now, yes, this looks kind of stupid when it looks like this. So we're going to go back into the wall section. We're going to go ahead and delete that one. Then we're going to go ahead and put a turn there. Drag it across. And let's go ahead and put another turn there. This can be dragged all the way up to here. Alright. Just gotta get this one last little piece here at the bottom. There. And then we bring our wall. That one. Boop. Go ahead and make this wall up real quick. Wall up real quick. Go ahead and throw these last little sections up here. Corner units. And then we got to go ahead and just paint up this little middle bottom piece here. Now that those are all done, let's go ahead and go through and fill in the wall. Oh. And now we'll jump back into the wall section, pull this down. That corner unit in. Pull it straight across. That unit in. Alright. You now have an area that's going to challenge your player to find it. Now what we may do is we may put a collectible item in here that once they have that, they can break a rock here or something. You know, get a way to get to this. Alright, So now I got the walls up. So let's go up a little higher. But you know, let's go right. Go right here. All right, let's pull that down real quick. Pull this all the way across. We don't want to go all the way to the wall. Come back. Come to right here. Come down real quick. 2. Now what we're doing is we're just kind of layering the cave to make something a little bit more appealing to our player's eye. There we go. Build this across here. Let me throw this corner up here. Whoa, now I don't want to do that. Corner there. And then go this right here. Our players are going to see this area and they're going to think, oh, hey, you know, let's go ahead and go see what's in there. Are they necessarily going to get anything out of it? Nope. But it does, however, look appealing. Let me jump back into the shadow area. Yeah. And then right here we want to do the wall again. Oh. All the way across. And then, because I wasn't paying attention, cover that up right there. Now again, you see how you've got all these blocks here? All of this is really unnecessary because you want it to be as minimalistic. Oh Jesus. You want it to be as minimal as possible when it comes to running your colliders. And we double check and make sure all of our colliders are there. Yep. All the colliders are there. We now have not the best laid out cave in the world, but now we have a nice little area that our player is going to have to navigate through. So now let's go ahead and go back, close our grid down, get the spawn point, pull it back over here, back right about there, about halfway between the wall and the door. So now we're good. Now, if you really want to work with Ork and all the fun stuff to it, there is stuff that you're going to have to do. If you follow through with the tutorials, it actually gets pretty darn easy. And you can build really quick, fast battles. And I'll show you how that works. So they've got different battle types. You can do turn-based, phase, active, or real-time. I actually am a fan of the active battles. So create a battle. You can choose turn-based, active, real-time, or phase. We choose active. Again, you can see that it's got this sphere collider. 2D, look at that. We don't want our player fighting on the backside of things. So, back into 2D, get rid of that sphere collider, add a component, box collider 2D. Now, this little trick here that I found Saves a lot of headaches. Don't forget his trigger. Edit your collider size. Then let's go ahead and just do a 4x4. So now, if our player walks anywhere in this, they're gonna have to get into a fight. Now, I've already built out the battle scenes, or the battle functionality. So I'm not gonna go over how to do that, but I will show you here. I have positions that I've already designed, so I'm going to use those. Now, first thing you want to do, again, horizontal plane, off of the XZ, change it to an XY. Alright? Then, down here, under combatant setting, change the faction to enemy. Uncheck use group. Change the combatant to whatever you want. Now, if I hit play, you won't hear the music or anything. You might hear the combat music start. He attacks me. I attack him. I definitely have to adjust the damage. And this is one of the things that I found that happens. He kind of gets the extra little zip, if you will. So we have to ensure that he's not getting that extra little zip. But the combat is now functioning. You now have a functioning scene. Now, let's say that we want to go ahead and put in a chest, right? Let's go into my prefabbed items. And let's go to... What did I have that under? Objects? Yeah, objects. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put this chest right here. Now, this chest is strictly a chest. Nothing super fancy about it, right? Let's see if I can rotate it 90 degrees. Not that one. See? Yeah, there we go. I don't want it to go too much further past that because it's set in the shadow layer. Now, what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and close all of this stuff down. And again, we're going to step back into the Orc Scene Wizard, and we're going to add a component. We're going to call it an event interaction. And let's go ahead and create an event really fast. And I'll show you, this is one of the reasons why Orc is such a phenomenal thing. We're going to pull up OrkFramework. Now, I run 3 monitors, so I keep this on its own screen. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to use... I'm actually going to use an event that I've already created. It's just a simple dialogue event. Okay? So I'm going to open the game event here, and let's just go ahead and pull this up. Excuse me. Thank you. And let's go ahead and actually, I'm not going to use that. Simple dialogue. Okay. This is a super simple, shows the checkbox, right? So I'm going to go ahead and save as, and I'm going to go into my event folder. Learning cave chest. Save. And let's go ahead and I'm just going to change the dialogue to say, you have found the rock crusher. You may now break the rock and go to the lower level to defeat the boss. Click OK. Now, to build this out, when you start an event, you're going to see event settings. It's the first thing that pops up. So let me go ahead and save this really quick. And I'll show you how we did this. This is a new event. It's a standard event, nothing super fancy or super hard about this new event. So to get a dialogue, when you go through with C# scripting, it's a long, drawn out process. To get your dialogue in here, it's simply right click, add, UI, dialogue, show dialogue. That is how hard it is to create a dialogue that your player will see. Now, there are more steps involved. This is just a simple, quick how-to. You've got to choose the box. You may have to build your box out, which is one of the things that I did. Now, I'm going to show you how that works. We just created the Learning Cave chest event. We chose that in the event asset over here. We hit OK. Now, we want it to be an interact, so our player's not just going to be able to walk up to it and it works. They're going to have to open the chest. Horizontal plane, again, X, Y. Now, this is super, super important when you are working with 2D. You must uncheck turn player to event and turn event to player. If not, what'll happen is it'll wind up screwing you up big time. So now, we hit play. And actually, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do this just to kind of show you how this is going to work. And box collider. Go. All right. So our player is going to be walking by. Looking around. Wait, where's my chest? Hang on. Try that again. The heck is my chest at? Why is my chest not showing? Let's see. Sprite renderer. Shadow. All right. All right. You know what? Let's try putting this as a 1. This is where it gets really tricky. You have to play around sometimes with your camera settings and the position of your objects to ensure that they show up where they're supposed to. Yep, see, there it is. Oh, hey, look, there's a chest. Yay, let's go get it. Okay, super simple. Nothing's there. Yada, yada, yada. They go around, and they go to get the chest, and now he's got to fight the bad guy. And that goes away. Yay, I won. Now my guy walks up. Chest. You found the rock crusher. You may now break the rock and go to the lower level to defeat the boss. There you go. And then our player works his way around. And goes through. Oh, no, he's a dead end. Okay, let's go back this way. Works my way around. Cool. Here we go. Have the rock right here. He breaks the rock, goes across. Yay! Boom. Goes down and kills the boss. And there you go. So, what are we looking at tonight? We spent an hour and 28 minutes kind of explaining along the way of building this. Now, it's not 100%. But this is a great starting point for anybody and everybody that wants to work with game design. So now, you know, I can go through here and I can go grid, solid object, boom. Boom. Now he can't get over there. And then you can add like the little tiki thingy bobbers in here. You know, just go. Now this, actually, I want to show you guys this while I'm thinking about it. This is actually going to go back to those layers that we had. Solid object layer, we want the base to be solid. We don't want the player to walk through that. But we know that the player is going to be able to walk behind it. So why don't we go with the above player layer, right? So now, you've got the little tiki thing going on there, right? Now when our player walks behind it, it'll be right over his head. And I'll show you. Scene objects, spawn point. Focus on that. Our player up here real quick. Spawn the player in. Now, yep, he's up on it. Oh wait, it's in front of me. So yeah, I mean there are a few graphical quirks, like you can see right now. It looks like his arm is stuck through it. But for the most part, that's easy to resolve with just changing the box colliders. But you now, using Ork, you now have a fully functioning game with combat. It's linked to the rest of the world. So if you wanted to see how this looks with the whole world put together, you could just simply go to your scenes, go to the start area. So here's your starting village, right? So we're going to go open the scene. Okay. Go ahead and just kind of hide everything down here real quick. And then we'll go to starting world and we'll open this one as well. Scene additive. Now, let's go ahead and just move everything around. That. Okay. Close everything. That way it moves properly. Alright, so now, village. If you're somebody that likes to see things connected, so you kind of see how the world is laid out. There you go. You now have 3 scenes connected. And your player now has functionality. Your world has functionality. You now have a spot to go to. Now, most likely, I will take and make another one of these. As you can see, like I said, we have another layer here for the player to go through. And then there will be a 4th scene attached to here. This is actually going to be what the demo is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unload that scene. Don't save. I'm going to unload that scene. Don't save. And I'm going to remove both of them. And it's simply that hard, guys. When you work in 2D, it makes things easier. I mean, there is occasionally more work that has to be done, just depending on what you ultimately want it to do, right? But as you can see, working with Ork, stupid simple. All right, guys. So tonight, that's gonna be it for me. I will go through and I'm gonna add more detail to this over the next couple days. If everything works out like it should, I may be able to put out a remotely playable version of this game. It's just the demo version that you guys will be able to get. But if you are interested in it, once I get it put together, let me know. And if you want to try it out in the comments, let me know in the comments on YouTube, and I will put it together for you guys. And just give me a way that I can share it out to you, and go from there. Anyways, guys, have a great night. We'll catch you next time. And if you haven't hit the like button, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, what are you doing with your life, man? No, guys, for real though, you know, I don't have a huge marketing department that would allow me to advertise my business. I'm a super small hobbyist indie studio. Um, so if you guys like this or would like to see some more tutorials on putting together, you know, worlds and doing level design and layouts in, you know, 2D or even 3D, let me know in the comments. But also, you know, the more you share this content, the more I'm able to be inspired by you guys. So let me know. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to let you know when my videos are there and when I go live. I do go live on Twitch as well as on Trovo. I will put on YouTube all the links here in the description. You'll see Twitch, you'll see Trovo. And if you want to donate to help out to allow me to bring more content like this, you can also donate. There will be a link for that in the bottom as well. But guys, y'all have a great evening. And until next time, have a great night.